So every time I come out of the shop, work on the car or do something, Mr. Griffey has to come with me, and I don't get anything done because all he wants to do is play. Because that's all corgis do, is play. They cry and they whine, they bark. Yeah. You're making my ears rattle. Can you stop that? I'm going to take you in the house. Yes, I am. You smart aleck. Ah. Me and Mr. Griffey, he wants to go for another four-wheeler ride, plow some snow. But my Super Dodge won't run this morning. So I need to plug it in. Anyway, we have to replace these ends. They're not very good ends. You can see that one's pretty bad. So Dave Bates sent me a whole mess of these kind of plug-ins, so I'm going to put that on there. These are cool because you depress this to put the end in, then you let go of it and it's stuck in there. It won't come unplugged. Okay, here's the damnedest thing you ever saw. It's blown so hard, it's blown snowballs. Have you ever seen snowballs? That's the craziest shit I ever seen. Looks like rocks and boulders out there, but it was just from the wind blowing the snow. Anyway, I got Jake over here cleaning out my driveway. It's blowing, blows out of that field and drifts really bad. I can't clean it out with the four-wheeler, it's just too deep. So he's doing it with the backhoe. Mr. Plow. So he's got a leak. That right front corner of the cab there, the headliner's drooped down and there's water coming out. We don't know where in the world it's coming from. Okay, Mr. Griff, are we ready to go four-wheelering? Yeah, you're gonna get all jacked up, ain't you? Come on, come over here, I'll get you out. Come on, come on. Hey, you want to get on? Come on. Come on, right here. Come on, let's go. Come on. That's a good boy. There you go. You ready? You ready? Oh, you ready? Oh, you're excited. Okay, come on, up there. Yeah, you're good. You're excited, yeah. Shut door. Stay there. You ready? I just want to quit snowing. Now it's blowing. Knocked you right off there. Sorry. Get up the grader. There's my newspaper. Huh? What you kid? Yeah. Hey, you gonna bark at the grader? Help me get it going? Huh? Are you? You gonna bark at it? Let's see if we can get her going. Yeah, you're barking already. G has a neutralizer for the hydraulics, but you have to hold it down to get it started, and then it takes quite a bit of grunt to get it going. Oh, Mr. Griffey, he's off somewhere barking. Oh, he's barking at the horses out there. He likes to bark at horses. Come on, Mr. Griff, let's go. Come on, let's go truck. Come on, Griffey. Hey. I have got to pull the starter out of the Super Dodge. Another one of those lifetime guaranteed Napa starters. And the solenoid don't want to work sometimes. So I got to pull it out. It's Sunday. I got another one I got to put in. So I'm going to get that apart. I'm going to look at the solenoid and show you what they do. So one of my awesome subscribers sent me this little socket kit. You know, usually I write their name on so I can remember who it was. I didn't write it down. I love this. This is awesome. So I'm going to put that under the truck to use that and get the wires off the solenoid. Okay, so this is what it does. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. If I turned that ring over, clean those up, it'd probably work, but I ain't gonna do it. I'm just gonna put another starter in. This looks like this has been upgraded. See, because one of the other problems these will have is you go to start them and then the starter just stays engaged because this spring right here gets weak or breaks and won't release the contact. It'll weld itself to those. Okay, it is time to see if it works. Let's find out. Yep, every time. That's what it was. Stupid solenoid. Even Griffey agrees, huh? So, I had to replace the starter. That lasted a year. The alternator, 1120, so it lasted a year and a month. Put it on at 391,000 miles. I have 405 on it now. Not very many miles, is it? What would that be? 14,000 miles is all that alternator lasted. And bearings gone in it. Chinese crap. So I changed the engine oil in the Super Dodge and the tranny oil. And this little voice in my head was telling me when I got about 10 quarts in it that I should probably start the engine, let it pump the converter full, because I have a converter with a drain plug on it, and when you drain the converter you get about 2 gallons of oil out of it. Well, I have a deep pan and then that converter drain, and then the way the valve body's set up, all the oil out of the coolers will drain back into the transmission when you shut it off. My valve also allows it to pump pressure in park, so when you start it, it will pump pressure and move the oil through the coolers and everything else. So I put 15 quarts oil in it, thought, yeah, that should do it, and I started it up, and it puked, but it was puking oil out of the converter housing because there's a breather there on the pump. You get it over full. And anyway, lesson learned. I had this little voice telling me, don't do that, don't do that. So I've ordered some new headlight buckets, and this Dodge has the single bulbs in each side, and I'm going to convert it over to the sport headlights, which are quad lights. And then my driving lights and fog lights are all broke and messed up, so I've ordered some new lights for that. But I hate these lights because I can drive around with my bright lights on and people don't even flash me because these new cars have lights that burn a hole in the back of your head. They can't even tell. Anyway, I can't drive it down the road, can't see where I'm going when I run into these guys with those headlights. Especially when you get some guy in a jacked up pickup and then he's got a trailer on and his front end's up. It just blinds you. So I'm going to return the favor. And then the other thing I want to do is get one of those LED light bars and mount it behind the bumper to shine out those grill bars in it. So anyway, right now I got to take this intake pipe off, and I need to check my grid heaters to make sure they're working, because it doesn't want to start very good when it's cold, and I may have one that's not working. Last time it was the solenoids down in there somewhere. So you've got a solenoid for each grid heater. You got 2 grid heaters, and if you got a solenoid that isn't working, or you got a grid heater that isn't working properly, they're not going to start. So this is a Dodge Cummins grid heater, and there's 2 elements in there. There's one on the top, one on the bottom, and then they share a common ground. They're connected here. Here's a ground cable, and then here's your 2 hot inputs. So each one of these has a separate solenoid for it. And what this does is these get hot so that when you go to start it, as it sucks the air in, it preheats the air, which makes them start. Now, a Ford and a Chevrolet use a glow plug that goes down in the combustion chamber, and they get cherry red, and then when you go to start and it sprays the fuel, it helps set the fuel off. These are a really good system. They work really, really well because you can cycle it several times, heat the air up inside the pipe and in the manifold, and then you go to start it, they'll fire right off. Now, mine does not start as well as it used to. Way back when I went to Minnesota to pick up an Arctic Cat sled I bought, and I stopped in Miles City, Montana, and my block heater on my truck didn't work. It was just the end where it plugs in that was bad. And there was all these Ford Power Strokes in front of the motel, and they were all plugged in, and I didn't have a cord, and there was really no place for me to pull up and plug in. So I parked out in the parking lot, and I asked the clerk how cold it was going to get, because it was like 9 below zero when I pulled in. And they said, oh, it's only supposed to get 9 below. And I'm like, oh, okay, we'll be all right. So I get up that morning, I go out, and man, it's cold. And I mean cold. You can feel it. I get in the truck, sit in the seat, and my butt doesn't even sink in the seat. And I turned the key on, and the temperature gauge said 20 below zero. So I cycled it, and they went out. The light went off, and I cranked on it, and it fired up, and it shuddered, and it shook, and it quit. So I cycled again. This time it didn't crank as fast because it got oil pressure, but it fired up and it ran. It was out there running in the parking lot. I went back inside and the guy at the desk, he says, wow, that was impressive. Because the Chevrolet and a Ford would have never started at 20 below back in the day. Anyway, it won't do that anymore. It absolutely won't do that. Whether it's the grid heater, fuel injectors, or just the fact that I have 406,000 miles on the engine, I don't know. So I want to make sure this is working properly, 100%, because if it's not, they don't start. So anyway, if that's good and it works and the relays work, solenoids, then it's just got 400,000 on it and it's not going to start like it used to. Okay, all you do to test them, I'm going to put this lug here and this one here, see, and it sparks. And boy, you can feel the heat coming off of that right there. That's hot. And then to test the other one, this is the bottom one. It's working too. My only concern is this ground cable's getting really warm. And that could be a problem if it's not making good contact. Then the grid heater's not going to work like it's supposed to. But that's pretty foolproof. And the pickup uses the computer to figure out how long to leave them on. What it does is senses the coolant temperature, and then depending on how cold it is, I've never timed it to see what the maximum time they stay on, but seems like it's under 30 seconds when it's really cold. But you heat both those elements up and man, that's hot. That's like an oven. So as the air passes through, it heats it up, and then when it goes in the engine, it helps with combustion. So it's definitely not this, but the one thing that concerns me is how hot this cable is. In just that little short amount of time, touching that, it's gotten really hot right down in here. So I think my ground cable's bad here. You can see how bad it's cracked. With engaging just one grid, this end gets super hot. And I remember after I would start it, you could always smell like electrical, like something was really hot. So it's corroded in here, so I need to go get some 4-gauge wire, and I've got ends here, and I'll solder them in here, put some shrink tube around that so it can't corrode. Then maybe it'll start better. Okay, so I went to town. The Napa store was closed, so I went over to AutoZone, bought a 10-foot long ground cable, 4-gauge. So I'll just hack off the ends. Well, actually I won't have to hack that end off, but I probably will, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use copper, and I'm going to fill them full of solder and solder the ends on. Way better connection than once you put a shrink wrap on it so it can't corrode. It'll last forever. Okay, so we want a good clean surface roughed up so the solder sticks to it good. So I just ran a piece of emery cloth in here. There. Clean copper. Don't tell me I don't have to do this, because even plumbers do it. Plumbers can't be wrong. Okay, so there we go. Soldered on, and then you put the shrink tube on and heat it up till the goop starts coming out. That means that she's sealed up tight. Good as new. So I took my thermostat out. Do you think that's a problem? Where in the heck did that come from? I ain't got a clue. Huh. Wonder if it gets stuck under there when it opens. So I'm assuming I pushed that seal back down in there. I'm assuming that's a seal to keep water from running around there, and the lip of it went around that. So that's why she's not keeping temperature, is it's bypassing too much coolant. So it's 4 below zero, if you can read that. And I'm out, my mother-in-law's water froze up. She lives in a trailer park. So I go over there, and they installed a heat tape deal on the water line, but the controller is not working. So it's like 10 o'clock at night, not much I can do about this. In the morning I'll have to go over with a space heater and see if I can warm it up under there and get her water. See if I can go find a controller and get it fixed. So that's what my New Year's Day is like. Don't you just hate stuff like that? Freezing to death, you gotta crawl under a dirty cobweb mess trailer, try to figure out what's wrong. Okay, haven't had 5 minutes to do anything on the Super Dodge, other than I got the that new ground cable for my manifold heater fixed. The manifold heaters do work, but I'm gonna have to have some help to check and make sure that both of them are getting juice, that the relays are working. I'm gonna have to get Jake down here to hold the test meter on there while I cycle the key through. Not sure it'll even work in the shop where it's as warm as it is. May have to pull it outside, let it get a little bit cold so they stay on for a while to make sure that both of them are working. Got the oil changed in the engine, tranny changed. Now I'm waiting for the headlight buckets and the new fog and driving light assemblies to come. Do a little greasing, vacuum it out. It's a mess in there. It's full of griffy hair all over. That little guy, you know, corgis are cool, but I'm here to tell you, they shed like crazy. Just hair coming off of them all the time. There's just hair everywhere in here. Anyway, I haven't cleaned the truck out for a year, so she's due. You know, I seriously went thinking I'd go buy a new one, but after I started looking at the prices, like even one that's a year old, I just went, you know what, I got $80,000 that I could spend on tractors and other things, D9s, that would make me way more money than a pickup, and this one just keeps running and running and running. It's got 400,000 miles on it. Yeah, occasionally you have to do a little maintenance. I just drive it and drive it and drive it. Do you know this thing still has the factory original U-joints on the rear drive line? I've never had to replace them, ever. Seems like you replace them and you buy greasable joints and they last 3 or 4 years, if that, and they're shot. So anyway, I keep debating whether or not I should take that off and replace them, but when it starts vibrating or anything, then I'll know they're gone. But you just can't get good quality parts anymore. Everything's made in China and the rubber's no good and the grease leaks out. Anyway, junk. Oh, and I got the thermostat replaced. It was leaking, and then it had that rubber gasket that came out, and that's why I wasn't running any temperature. Even with the radiator completely covered, I just couldn't run any temperature, so I hope that fixes that. So my headlights buckets showed up, and these are set up to run double bulbs in them. And I bought these off Amazon. These are supposed to go, so like this one would plug into the connector, the main headlight one, the single one in the truck, and then split off to go to these, but that's not going to work because you can't plug a bulb in this. And so I got to send them back. Okay, so the boys been working on the tranny. They got the case, the bearing out of it. They got it steam cleaned, all cleaned up on the table. They got to disassemble that clutch, and then that's got the retarder vane in it. Jake's been assembling the retarder valve. They're waiting for some bearings. I got my headlight buckets, but I ordered the wrong harness to go from singles to quads. The end came with 2 females and 1 male. You need 2 males and 1 female. So I have just been working on the truck. Got me some new seat covers installed. Kind of vacuumed it out a little, cleaned it up. Threw the old seat covers in the junk. Those are good seat covers. They're sheepskins. Ordered a new neutral or park neutral switch. Got covered in oil doing that. Didn't know I was going to have oil come out. I gave me a heck of a bath in my coat, so now I got to fix that. So anyway, trying to get this all done and finished. Ordered some more stuff for the car, got that. I can start getting the interior put back together now. They got quite a bit of pieces, parts to assemble. Ooh boy, glad they're doing it, not me. But when they get this cleaned up, it'll be time for me to get some more stuff cleaned up. Hopefully I'll get the car put together. I may have to go put it in the garage again so I can get a bulldozer in here and get working on it. Got the cat unloaded off the lowboy since the weather decided to turn to 37 degrees and melt most of the snow. Parked old Killdozer over there behind that one D9H. Guess I gotta come up with some kind of names for those tractors. Not sure what I'm gonna call them. Because since we got, you know, 3 of them, of course, one of them's Killdozer. I don't know what to name the other 2, so we know what they are. On the scrapers, we have number 1, number 2, and over there, the Filthy Whore. Maybe we'll have to name this one number 1 and that one number 2. I don't know. Anyway, it's not bad today. It's windy, but it's kind of melted the snow. We got those southerly California winds. It snowed last night, but then it just melted today. Hey, you guys are like way behind. You should have been headed south like a month ago. Honkers, I gotta watch out. They'll bomb me. I get pooped on. Hey, so I got some stuff going in the cat box. Got a lot of calendars going in. Hey, I wanted to mention, if you buy something from my store, you don't have to use PayPal to pay for it. Just do the order, click on the PayPal pay button, and then it takes you to the next screen, which gives you the option to use whatever credit card form of payment you want to make. Ooh, so I got a big old box going to Mark Anderson in Oakland, New Jersey. Got one going to Calvin Factor in Canada. Hope that thing makes it. PayPal's gone to ShipStation. The labels are completely different now, and it doesn't even have your address on there. So somehow I hope it's in that barcode. Got a box going to Dallas Crane in Pelzer, South Carolina. Got a calendar going to Mark Yoder in down there in Nacogdoches, Texas. Danny Toner, Mullenville, Kansas. Danny makes all the Jpaydirt wallets. Dave Trailer, Modesto, California. Brian Anderson, my homie in Lake Stevens, Washington. Jeff Mussard, down there in Mount Vernon. Jeff, do you like mustard and ketchup? Just kidding you. I couldn't resist, sorry. Neil Nelson in Kintersville, PA. Dwayne Clark over in Reliance, Wyoming. Not too far from me. Richard Luttrell, Citrus Heights, California. Cal Hode, Bath, New York. And my good old buddy Dave Bates in Kersey, Colorado. Thank you, Dave. So you guys have an awesome day. Mr. Griffey's digging Digging a hole to poop in or something. What you doing over there, Mr. Griff? Hey, so I've got some cool stuff that some of my awesome subscribers have sent me, and I need to get that opened up. It's been laying around here forever. Anyway, this came from Ray Bustabade. I sent him some of my old Super Dodge rims. He needed a couple, and he felt the need to send me some stuff, which wasn't necessary, Ray, but I totally appreciate it. Whew, this will go good on the water truck. That's neat. Thank you very much for that, man. That is a spray nozzle. We could use that, heck yeah. I can put that on the back of the water tanker and use it to clean radiators and whatever. Thank you. Okay, this is a not voltage tester, DC and AC. Uh-oh. AC, you're gonna get me killed, Ray. That's cool. I'll have to go check that out, man. Only not on AC. That wouldn't be good. I'm no good with AC. And James Johnson, who is an engineering manager for the North American Hydraulic Excavator Division for Caterpillar in Victoria, Texas, down there in Texas, sent me this cool hat. Texas on it, excavator, and Victoria, Texas. That's awesome. So James sent me the hat because he said he wanted to thank me for being such a loyal cat customer. So I emailed him back and I asked him if he could tell this guy right here what a loyal cat customer I was. So anyway, he said, man, I got better connections than him. Anyway, thanks, Ray, for the stuff, cool stuff, the nozzle and the tester. And thank you, James, for the hat. James said I should come down sometime and see the place. So, you know, that's on my list. But this stupid pandemic thing has just kind of killed all that. So anyway, I'm out in the shop working on the Super Dodge. Got the proper tire on. Anyway, I wanted to mention, I got a whole bunch of new hats. I got the green ones that I'll put back in stock. I got more of the yellow ones. I haven't been able to replenish my supply of the charcoal ones or the black ones, which are also the same ones that I do the Old Kenny hat with. I still have Old Kenny hats, have no black hats, and I just have a few of the charcoal left. Anyway, hopefully I can get some more, but my store's kind of out of a lot of stuff because I just can't get stuff. So anyway, I want to thank everybody for purchasing all the stuff from me, from my store. The calendars are getting down, so if you want a calendar, make sure and get you one soon. These are the Anderson Construction calendars. Anyway, that's my granddaughter in the excavator. We taught her how to run the excavator. Anyway, it's got a lot of cool pictures in it. These are all pictures of my equipment. There's Petey. Now, that's a good picture. Old school, man. Black smoke. This is for Damien Richardson in Australia. So I tried to mail you calendars before Christmas, and I went through UPS and they came back. Not because they wouldn't ship them, but because there was an issue with the, what do you want to call it, import documents. So I have sent that to you again through United States Postal Service, and they actually allowed me to purchase a label. So it's priority mail, should get to you fairly quick if it makes it. So keep your eye peeled out for that.
It's alright, it's alright. You know I love this life I lead.